Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Just today I came across an article about a Canadian man who claims to have seen a gigantic UFO as he was driving down a highway in British Columbia on September 26th of this year. There was an article here that I read in exemplar.com, and also originally this guy posted about this experience on Reddit, and I'll get into all of this in a second. Anyway, the article from Exemplar, which I will leave the link for in the description, it's Canadian man sees massive UFO while out driving. He said it was the size of a city block. One of the challenges with getting decent video of UFOs is that they appear and disappear extremely quickly. Also, we don't all necessarily have high-powered cameras lying around, or ones are much better at doing more than pointing and shooting. Thus, many UFO videos are of low quality, taken at night or by zooming in with our smartphones. Is it any wonder that people are so quick to debunk videos of UFO encounters even when people do manage to take them? Take this photo that a Canadian man managed to capture while driving down the highway one night in British Columbia. Online, people are debating whether it's just a reflection from his interior car lights, but he says he saw something huge. Now I'm going to switch over to the Reddit page on UFO Reddit, where this guy posted his experience, and the user's name is Unlearnonot, and this is what he wrote. I would like to share my sighting story with actual evidence. September 26th, 2022, I was driving on a remote but major highway in southeastern British Columbia, and at approximately 7:40, I happened to look out the driver's side window to see this weird double row of lights in this night sky. For some reason, I assumed it was a double row of SpaceX's Starlink satellites, but then I realized this thing was not in space. It was close. I believe it was maybe a few hundred yards away, maybe only 100 or 200 yards off the ground, floating in the air. It was massive. It had to have been the size of a football field or large shopping mall. I took my foot off the gas and fumbled for my phone. I opened the driver's window, stuck my arm out, and just started snapping pictures at highway speed. As I was trying to take pictures while driving on the highway, I had to look away from this thing several times to stay on the road. Just as I looked back the last time, I felt the distinct impression this thing was like, "He's taking pictures, gotta go." Like it knew I saw it, and I somehow knew it knew. In some sort of warp speed flash thing, it shot away or almost teleported in a way I cannot really describe. I was stunned. I coasted to a stop and checked all the pictures. It is not much to look at, but at least there is something. This is the best picture. You can see the top double row of lights in the bottom of the ship. You can also see the highway yellow line in the bottom on the picture. I have included the original picture and one where I circle the lights. I almost thought none of the pictures worked, but it is there if you zoom in. Note, my phone is a 2016 iPhone SE. Upon further camera testing on a bright, cloudless night, the camera is not sufficient enough to pick up most stars, except the super bright ones like Venus, the North Star, or the Moon. This was a remote highway with no light pollution. There were many stars behind and around this thing, but none showed up on the camera, indicating how close and massive this thing was. I resumed driving, stunned, and kept scanning the sky, half expecting this thing to come back and take my phone. Shortly after, a row of what looked like 100 or more, or what I assume are Starlink satellites, went across the sky in a neat line right over where this thing was parked. I stopped and tried to take pictures of those too, but the camera was not able to pick them up. It was almost as if the sky ship thing was intending to have a front row seat to observe the satellites, maybe, and I messed up the show for it. What blows me away is the sheer size of this thing. Is that what is called a mothership? It was from some Fox News. It was not some Fox News Tic Tac or saucer. I have no other words than massive, only a couple hundred yards off a major highway. I have shown some friends and family. The responses have been mostly underwhelming. It seems to make people uncomfortable. I think I will stop showing people, but maybe this sub will appreciate it. Cheers. But anyway, there was somebody that another user named PhotoGamerGT, he adjusted the lighting on it, and he shows that it's basically a rectangular object with 6 blue lights. And anyway, this guy, was wondering what he saw as a mothership, and he's asking basically people on Reddit, what do you think this is? Well, I'll tell you what it is. I mean, if if you're saying that, if you're telling us the truth, what you saw is most certainly extraterrestrial. How could we don't have anything that could do something like that. I mean, it would have to be some sort of extraterrestrial mothership, something that large, something the size of a city block that's able to just zoom away soundlessly. I mean, what else could it possibly be? I mean, common sense tells you it's not human made. It has to be, and then that means it's obviously made by some other intelligence greater than what human beings possess. But it's what's interesting to me is like when you go through Reddit on something like this, when something like this happens, this guy posted this experience on here, and you get a lot of different comments from different people, and some people, they say, well, it could be, top secret military tech. I hate hearing that. That's, how could something that big? I mean, that's a lot of people, like with the Phoenix Lights, you hear some people say, well, it could have been top secret military tech. We don't have something like that's that big, right? We don't have something that's gigantic, like that could float around soundlessly, right? Come on, and but that's it's like when I hear that, when I hear these people saying top secret military tech, that kind of thing, it just gets under my skin a lot, because it's just like, how do you know? What are you talking about? How could we don't have, there's nothing that we could have that could operate like this. I mean, if this story is true, I tend to believe that this guy's not lying about this. I mean, you read the article, read the piece that he put together. I mean, he was clearly flabbergasted by this thing. I mean, why would you just throw something out there like that? And he included some pictures. The pictures weren't that good. I mean, if he was trying to fake something, he might have come up with something a little bit more intriguing, right? Than these blue lights in basically surrounded by blackness. I mean, you can't really see anything. But here's like some of the comments. I'm going to go through some of these comments on Reddit here. I can't see anything in the pics. And then somebody else, I had to turn the brightness up on my phone all the way to see it. Yeah, I mean, actually, if you just look at this regular picture, the way it looked, it's really hard to see. I mean, I couldn't see the lights at first, and then it took me a little while. I had to enlarge the image on my laptop to be able to see it. But then, like I said, somebody on Reddit enhanced the picture, brightened it up really bright, and then you could see, there's definitely something there. And then somebody else wrote, the brightness on my phone is all the way up and I still don't see it. And then somebody else wrote, because there is nothing there. If you want to see some distant town lights, then that's it. No aliens or ship or anything remotely close. That's what somebody else wrote. Now, I don't know. Well, this guy's saying there's nothing there. And obviously this was probably posted before that guy put the enhanced version on there. This one user is saying there's nothing there. Well, there is something there. There's definitely some lights there, right? And then some other people were saying, well, it's probably he just caught a reflection on his driver's side window. Well, he said that the window was down. The phone was outside. He had the phone pointing outside, trying to take pictures of this thing. So that's can't be a reflection then, right? Because it's outside, the window's down and he has the phone outside. So it's not a reflection then. I mean, what part aren't these guys, didn't they read the whole thing? Okay. And then somebody writes here, the info must flow wrote, your description reminds me of what a witness to the Phoenix Lights incident in 1997 told me. He said he was out in his driveway in a suburb that sat in a small valley, and the sun had just set when a huge chevron-shaped black craft with 5 big lights silently cruised over. He said it was like several city blocks, but decided to separate from the earth and float away, and it was so foreign, massive, and frightening to his world view that he lost control and messed his shorts. He later wondered if it was man-made because it had protrusions, conduits, and ductwork that reminded him of the surface of military craft, and the color was similar to stealth aircraft, but the power source and propulsion were certainly unknown to the masses, and it made him mad that such technology might be withheld from the world. If so, anyway, nifty. Well, okay, sometimes people say they see on these large objects, like there's protrusions like conduits and ductwork, and they just assume then, well, that means it must be man-made, right? Well, how so? How do you know? How do you know it's man-made? Because it has ductwork and conduits, and it's a gigantic thing as big as a football field floating around, and yet It's making no sound whatsoever. Like, well, just because you're seeing conduits on and then ductwork, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean it's human made. I don't know where these people get this stuff from. They just pull it out of their ass. Anyway, some of the other ones, comments after that. There was a film that came out about a few years ago where the mayor of Phoenix at the time talks about how he saw the craft himself and went on TV and lied about not seeing it. He said it was absolutely massive and eerily silent. Well, yeah, we all know that. This does remind me of the Phoenix Lights, and also there was things that were seen in Stephenville, Texas, in the early 2000s. There was one craft, at least, that was completely, incredibly gigantic and unexplainable. And so sometimes these things show up. A lot of times these gigantic mothership type craft are seen in the upper atmosphere of Earth. There were a lot of reports throughout the 50s, 60s, 70s that you hear from different military personnel that they see these objects. A lot of times there's these gigantic cigar-shaped objects, way up, in the upper stratosphere. And sometimes they see, sometimes people had seen little craft coming in and out of these things. I mean, that's what this is. I mean, if that's what this guy saw, if this guy truly is telling the truth, and this is what he saw, it was a gigantic craft that's the size of a city block hovering above the ground off a highway, right? What else could it be? I mean, it's only common sense that it's extraterrestrial. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, that's what we're dealing with. That's what we talk about all the time. I mean, on this podcast, anyhow. Yeah, this is definitely... it would have to be. We don't have this kind of technology. But again, like the problem that I have with a lot of this is this assumption by a lot of people that some of these things are, man-made. Now here's the thing. There's some things out there. I'm sure that there's some top secret military tech that's out there, right? That people, see and they don't know what it is, and they think it could be extraterrestrial. That's very possible. I'm certain of it. Like, a lot of people say there's the mystical TR-3B. They're flying that the government created this triangular craft. It's and it could do all these different things and hover in place and whatnot and okay. But I've stated this before. I don't care about top secret military craft. I'm interested in the craft that are operated by these extraterrestrial visitors. I'm concerned about that. I really don't care about what the military is developing behind the scenes. I'm not really interested in that. I just don't care. Just the way I am, I'm just not interested. Oh, TR-3B. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Really glad for you. Great job. But a lot, the thing is, a lot of this stuff, it's not man-made. A lot of these things that are seen. I mean, for one thing, there's all the beings, that people see, that people encounter, alien abductions. What are they? Are they top secret military technology that's in play? No, they're beings. But yeah, you'll find that all over Reddit. Yeah, it's top secret military technology. Right, it reminds me of that. Like, to me, it's like it gets under my skin more than anything else when I read that kind of thing. It reminds me of that one movie with Steve Martin in it. There was this movie back in the 80s called Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. And it was basically a parody of like old crime drama film noir movies from the 40s and 50s. And in that movie, Steve Martin plays a private detective. It was filmed in black and white, and they actually had scenes from old movies with old actors like Humphrey Bogart and James Cagney, and it was all intertwined with these scenes with Steve Martin. It looked like he was actually interacting with these people from these scenes from old movies. But anytime anybody mentioned the words cleaning woman, Steve Martin would go ballistic. Cleaning woman? Right? And he would just, freak out. And, he was upset. The cleaning woman, that upset him a lot because his dad, when he was a kid, ran off with the cleaning woman. Well, I get upset when I hear top secret military. It just drives me nuts. I mean, a lot of people who, hang around the UFO Reddit sites and everything. There's a lot of these people that they're just all gung-ho about top secret military tech. Top secret military tech, man. That's what it is. They're fooling all of us. Ugh. It's not. It's not. Sometimes here and there maybe, but for the most part, no. No.